Hello YouTube. Let's start in November of 2023. Hurricanes, floods, volcanic eruptions and earthquakes. The Earth was experiencing the consequences of a powerful impact from space, from outer space. Scientists see a possible cause of the current cataclysms in the destabilization of our planet. A salvo, or a blast from above, took place in November of 2023. An unprecedented hurricane and storms in the Black Sea, in the Russian-occupied Crimea, in Sochi, in Anapa, just give you an example from that part of the world. But also flooding in Kamchatka, the most powerful and far from timely snowfalls in Moscow and in the Moscow region. These cataclysms, which happened almost simultaneously, of course gave rise to suspicions in Russia. Did some enemies shoot at them from a climatic weapon? Yes, there was a shot, more like a blast, just a couple of weeks ago. Before this happened, this was confirmed by several dozen scientists from different countries, publishing evidence in the journal Nature of Communications. But there was no climatic weapons, of course. According to the authors, what was fired was from somewhere not on our planet, not on Earth, not from Norway, not from Alaska, not from the so-called suspicious electromagnetic installations affecting the ionosphere, but through it, processes in the atmosphere and even in the bowels of the Earth. The salvo was fired from outer space, from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius, from a distance of 2.4 to 1.9 billion light years away. On the evening of October 9, 2022, the Earth was hit by a hard gamma radiation of unprecedented power, which damaged the ionosphere more than any terrestrial climate weapon, if it really existed. The beam not only heated but literally burned through the ionosphere, shook it, distorted the electric field of the planet, causing electrical chaos. Italian scientists and their foreign colleagues, as many as 70 people from several institutes and universities involved in the work of the European Space Agency, confirmed in the journal Nature Communications a mysterious gamma ray touched the Earth. Traces of its influence have been found in the ionosphere of our planet at the altitude of about 500 kilometers. The ionosphere is an electrically charged, ionized layer of the atmosphere starting at the altitude of 80 to 100 kilometers above the Earth. The beam burned through it, distorted it, changed the electric field in the atmosphere, causing electrical chaos. The ionosphere still cannot recover from the impact. Numerous anomalies were just recorded by scientists thanks to the several observatories, Swift, Fermi, Integral, and so forth. Disturbances in the ionosphere began on the evening of October 9, 2022, when harsh gamma ray radiation of unprecedented strength hit our planet. The salvo, or blast, lasted about 7 minutes and was designated GRB 221009A. It is considered the most powerful in the history of observations and is called a BOT, short for brightest of all time. According to experts, the flare was 1,000,000 trillion times brighter than the sun. Again, it was shot from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius from the distance of 2.4 to 1.9 billion light years. Imagine this. that is, from an unimaginable distance, from some galaxy far, far away. Mankind, and indeed all life on Earth, was just lucky, fortunate that the weapon was not nearby, somewhere like in the Milky Way. Yes, even at the very edge of it, the Earth would be sterilized, as the authors of the publications put it. More than a year after the salvo, many scientists agree that it was it that provoked the catastrophic earthquake in Turkey, acting on tectonic plates through the ionosphere. It primarily reacts to streams of high-energy charged particles which are rained down by cosmic gamma radiation. Currents generated in a distorted electromagnetic field, the one from above, interact with torrents that arise in the subsurface due to the piezoelectric effects at fault sites of tectonic plates and thus impact their movement. They are destabilizing. A little something, the plates become more mobile. Tension accumulates in them, which is discharged by earthquakes. Concrete evidence of the connection between space and the subsurface has recently been provided by scientists from another large international team who work on the CREDO project and monitor levels of cosmic radiation, even not as strong as that boat, brightest of all times. There are fears that climatic anomalies, increasing hurricanes, unexpected droughts and floods, unusual coldness, and conversely heat are caused by the damaged ionosphere. The weather around the globe depends on its condition. And if the condition is bad, well, the answer is self-evident. Scientists admit that they have not fully appreciated all the damage caused by the impact from space, but they feel that it is enormous and it will present more surprises, perhaps in the very near future. And the most unpleasant thing, doomsayers do not exclude that it was gamma ray flares that caused 5 mass extinctions that occurred on our planet over several 100 million years. But this is already a distant prospect. So who owns the most destructive weapon in the universe? GRB 221009A is the most powerful of all gamma rays bursts, but far from the only one. There are thousands of them. Devices sometimes register dozens of shots per day. It seems that they are firing from everywhere, and who or what is doing it is unclear. Something creates a directional beam rather than exploding, spreading radiation in all directions. Each shot, not even the most powerful one, releases as much energy as the sun generates in millions of years. Unable to figure it out yet, scientists are seriously considering even such exotic ideas involving the participation of advanced extraterrestrial civilizations. Astrophysicists do not exclude that the Earth, from time to time, finds itself in the line of fire, which is led by alien spaceships of the warring parties armed with gamma lasers, or their battle stations shoot like the Death Star from Star Wars, only incomparably more destructive. As said hypothesis, on the one hand, it implies that extraterrestrial civilizations exist, and the very advanced ones at that. But on the other hand, it is better to stay away from such siblings in intelligence, so to say, because they fight all the time. According to a less belligerent assumption based on research by the American astronomer Harris, gamma ray flares are the result of the movement of starships powered by antimatter, and gamma quanta appear during the annihilation of antimatter with our ordinary one, so to say. The spaceship receiving energy for movement from time to time produces such explosions. Harris even traced a series of successful gamma ray bursts and assured that they were on the same line. That is, they resembled the flight path of alien ships. The scientists counted as many as 134 such trajectories. They say the movement in the universe is very lively. So our planet is being destabilized. The natural balance on it is disturbed, maybe irreparably, according to at least some people. But let's go back to 2023. Experts warn that climate disasters are expected in the very near future. Well, as you can see, they were not long in coming. Crimea was seriously impacted. But the peninsula was still fortunate, so to speak, because the resort on the other side of the globe had a much worse time. Acapulco was almost washed away. The elements destroyed hotels, blowing furniture out of the rooms, along with the guests. The climate situation was aggravated by the fact that both the atmosphere and the ionosphere had already been damaged by the eruption of the underwater volcano Hanga Tonga Hanga Ha'apai, which lasted from January 14 to January 15, 2022, in the Pacific Ocean. It is recognized as the largest in the history of observations. That volcano exploded with a force of 600 Hiroshimas. It threw out more smoke and ash to a height of almost 60 kilometers. A hot blob had inflated the ionosphere, superplasma bubble. And according to one very convincing hypothesis, if you heat up even a small section of the ionosphere over one area, the state of the atmosphere will necessarily change in another. As many suspect, climate weapons seem to work on this principle. And so, first, the volcano fired a barrage, then a ray from space added to the mess, and of course it could not pass without a trace. And yet, no less significant, experts have calculated that the volcano was triggered by a giant tea kettle, and as a result of the eruption, 50 million more tons of water vapor entered the atmosphere. In its layer, located at altitudes from 50 to 20 kilometers, there was 5% more moisture. It did not cause a worldwide flood, but it added precipitation here and there. Consider that it was this that caused the event that covered Moscow with snow. By the way, changes in the ionosphere are reflected in the subsurface through the currents that circulate there. It is possible that the anomalies that appeared provoked both a catastrophic earthquake in Turkey and subsequent volcanic eruptions in different parts of the world at the same time. The ionosphere still cannot recover from the impacts from below and from the above. Therefore, it is a threat that catastrophic, at least extreme climatic events will become more frequent. God forbid, of course. Now, let's recall the year 2021. What the hell is going on? This is how John Matthews, the official representative of the International Telescope Array Project, co-spokesperson at the University of Utah, expressed himself verbatim and quite emotionally in a press release from the University of Utah. In doing so, he conveyed the general bewilderment prevailing in the scientific community about the phenomenon encountered by his university team and astronomers from the University of Tokyo. The phenomenon, to put it mildly, was out of the ordinary, comparable in cyclopean nature to mergers and ejections of black holes, supernova explosions, or equally mysterious gamma-ray bursts. Scientists summed up the observations, very preliminary, publishing a report in the journal Science. What happened is this. Early on the morning of May 27, 2021, 23 of the 507 telescope array detectors covering an area of 700 square kilometers of the Utah desert caught an incredibly powerful cosmic ray. Its particles had an energy of 244 ex-electron volts, 2.4 by 10 to the 20th power. For comparison, the energy of particles rushing in the Large Hadron Collider is millions of times less. The stream that hit the Earth at almost the speed of light was not electromagnetic, a light beam or gamma radiation. It consisted of either protons or nuclei of very heavy chemical elements. What exactly was emitting the mysterious particles? Complete mystery. None of the known and even theoretically assumed sources is capable of such a thing. Theoretically, cosmic rays should not be so powerful. Amaterasu is how scientists named the particles of the stream in honor of the goddess of the sun from the Japanese mythology. The unknown is frightening. Something is happening in the universe that is either incomprehensible or far beyond the limits of traditional physics and astronomy. After all, the phenomenon in which Amaterasu participated is not the first one. In 1991, scientists recorded an even more powerful flow, so to say, with an energy of 300 ex-electron volts. Think about it. Oh my God, was called by the Western scientific community the charged particles of the cosmic ray that flashed at that time, although it was strongly doubted that such rays could even exist in nature. The observations of 2021, that would be 30 years later, finally convinced them. But this did not allow us to find even some sound hypothesis to explain it all. By the way, scientists, they have come down. In their opinion, both valleys or barrages did not become destructive to the Earth. The streams dispersed harmlessly. We can deal with some defects in the structure of space-time or spatial temporal continuum with colliding cosmic strings, according to John Broads, professor at the University of Utah and co-author of that article. I just give out crazy ideas that come to people's minds because there is simply no generally accepted explanation, according to the scientists. In 2 years, it only became clear that the sources of the rays of the particles, oh my God, and Amaterasu were in different places. The particles of oh my God came from the direction of the Big Dipper, and Amaterasu seemed to come from nowhere. They came from an empty region of the universe adjacent to the Milky Way called local void. So maybe aliens? Did any of their starships produce an energy release? Or they sent maybe such a signal to someone? What if something broke out of the neighboring universe? And what? Even serious scientists talk about the multiplicity of universes. And they hint that sometimes the universes collide. So that's where we are today, early December 2023. So let's hope this month will be limited only to magnetic storms. Thank you for your attention to my work. If you like my research, please support me through the links you will find in the description to this video. Please like my videos. Please tell others about my channel.